All right. Hello, everyone. I am excited to have Jenny with me today. Jenny is well known in our community for being an amazing yoga and Pilates instructor. She also teaches some other fitness classes and yoga to our local college football team. So I wanted all of the future moms out there to hear Jenny's story for a couple of reasons. First, teaching fitness classes and the fitness industry is pretty popular. There are many moms out there making money online and several who teach classes on a regular basis, but not many who have turned it into a long-lasting career as Jenny has. She has made a very comfortable living for herself without e-commerce, which is actually very exciting. And I also admire how focused and devoted Jenny is to being an amazing mom. She has worked her business around her family and their needs. She's been able to leverage this talent and skill to help out the family financially at times, which I know has been a huge blessing to her as well. And I'm sure all of the future moms out there are excited to hear more about her journey. So without further delay, welcome, Jenny.
Oh, thank you, Chelsea. You made it sound very powerful. That was very fun. Wow.
So tell us how you discovered your love and talent for yoga and at what point you were able to turn teaching classes into a career.
Um, I grew up dancing and then cheerleading. So I danced for 12 years and I was a cheerleader for 6 years. And just as soon as my senior year, ended, I realized that I missed that movement in my life. And so I started teaching aerobics for the Parks and Rec department. Isn't that funny? So I was teaching like 11 and 12-year-old girls aerobics. And then I went off to college in the fall and I realized that I could teach at like kind of an intramural program at Rick's College. And so I started TAing there. And then I moved to BYU and I taught for that program. And I taught for that program for about 13 or 14 years. And I just love movement. I love movement of all forms. And so I'd always done this all through college. It was awesome because I made money and I had a job and a workout at the same time. So it was really wonderful. And then when I was 28 years old, I just had my second baby. And there was a lot of buzz at that point about yoga. And I thought, well, I better see what this yoga craze is about. There's a lot of, at that point, about 10 years of really serious hammering on my body. And so I started going to yoga on Saturdays. And I was like, this is kind of good. And then I discovered Vinyasa yoga. And the minute I saw a Vinyasa yoga program, I'm like, I'm home. Because it's a flowy, active form of yoga. And it was, for me, like a lot like ballet or a jazz class. It's continuing. And I loved it. And so then I started going to all sorts of training, a lot of them in Park City, but a lot of them around the country, really. And shortly thereafter, I started teaching at a gym. And I would practice my own yoga in Salt Lake this one night a week and at home in my family room when Jake was taking a nap, my second child. And then we built a new house and my husband built a studio. We had a daylight basement and he built a studio down there for me. And I loved that because I taught at Brigham Young University. I also had a little studio in my house. I taught for a local company. So that was exciting. I was just a few places and I like that the most when I'm not tied to one place, but I have lots of avenues. And as a mother, it's allowed me to teach when my kids were primarily gone. So in my studio, I taught evening classes when they were in bed and I taught 6 a.m. classes. I taught noon classes for the company. And then at BYU, I would teach evening classes, but Lance would always be home to watch the kids. So until I moved to Boise, I never, ever left my kids with a daycare or a sitter. Lance was always doing that, or they'd be in school. So that it's been a priority to me. I remember when I started teaching yoga, there was a lot of people then training all around the country, and they would leave their families. Some didn't have kids, and I just knew that was not my plan. That was not God's plan for me, to leave my children. And I thought to myself, if they can do it, I can do it the way I want to do it. And that's what I have done. So
That's perfect. So how difficult was it for you to transfer from doing most of your classes at an establishment to getting them into your home? Was there some marketing techniques, or by then were just people familiar with you so they knew who you were and they could come on over? How did you kind of make that transition?
When I first opened the little yoga studio in Orem, um, the night classes were easily filled. That was not such a big thing because this is really pre Facebook and Instagram, really, right? It was word of mouth. So people would find out at the gym, like, oh, because I was just teaching there Saturday. They're like, you mean I could do this class also Tuesday and Thursday? I'm like, yes. But the 6 a.m. was hard, and bless Lance's heart, there was one lady that wanted to come. I think she had 6 kids, and she's like, I'm going to come at 6 a.m. twice a week, and I'm just going to make it work. And so she would pull up, and I'd say to Lance, you're on, because she would come alone, and he would come and practice with her, and then slowly it just started building. That class, I believe it was Tuesday and Thursday at 6 a.m., it got so busy that I almost didn't have enough room for everyone, because these ladies realized that if they had one shot, 6 a.m., and that was their only shot for the day, because a lot of them had many children and some had careers, but most of them were moms with many kids and sporting activities. So it was a lot of word of mouth. The same situation here in Meridian. Once I decided to buy the reformers and put them at my home, I've done very little advertising anywhere. Just have told people word of mouth that this is what I do. I offer extremely reasonable pricing. Um, so I like it. I like people to be able to afford to come because I'm passionate about them being able to do this. And yes, I could make more money if I charged more, for sure. I could teach less and charge more, but then it would make me sad because all the women that need to move wouldn't be able to move. So no, I have not used some brilliant marketing technique, but I am getting ready to embark on another event, and I will need to use social media and maybe some funneling techniques to get people into my program.
Yeah, perfect. Well, and I know that a lot of your success, at least when you've been in our community, has just been you're just very talented. So that has helped because we enjoy your classes. We feel that nurturing from you. We just feel like we belong. We're learning so much. I feel like you just are a very natural teacher. And so I think that in itself has helped quite a bit, I'm sure, for you.
Thank you. You know, it's sort of like food. People either like it or they don't, right? And so I think part of it's almost not just me, but I feel like it's in the community of people that I attract. So these wonderful people come, and I really at this point don't have anyone I don't want to teach. That's happened very rarely to me that there's been anyone I didn't want to teach, occasionally, but I think because everyone is so fabulous and they have so much to offer that we have created this community of women who want to talk about their lives, their children, food, recipes, exercise, marriages, and we come together and we share. And so we not only work our bodies, but we work our mind and our spirit at the same time. That's my hope.
That's great. So when you were at a point where you decided to teach the Pilates in your home and you had to go out and buy those reformer machines, can you just give us a little bit about how you were able to kind of make that happen for you financially and get that going? Because I know sometimes it's a little scary to think, oh, I've got to invest some money into some product in order to make this work.
I have to tell you, probably because of my parents' background, I was terrified. Like I was literally terrified. I was teaching reformer at the gyms, and they decided to cut the program. But I loved teaching this program, and I could see where this would be such a great opportunity. And so we just went out on a limb, and we just purchased 6 reformers, and then I bought 6 chairs, 1-to chairs. And then I just started texting and calling people. And a lot of my previous students, they really love and they're like, we'll come. If you buy the machines, we will come up and take from you. And so I have 3 at a studio and I have 3 in my home. And in the next little while, I'd like them all to be in my home studio. I'd like all of them with me. But it was terrifying. So I won't say that it wasn't, because we don't like to roll with any amount of debt. And it scared me a lot. Like, I was like, what if? And now looking back at it, it wasn't very much money. I should have bought 10 machines and I still could, but it was scary. And I really feel for people like myself. I'm not a big entrepreneur, but I believe in what I teach, and I believe in myself enough to feel like if I offer it, I think people will come. And they have, for the most part. It's been really wonderful. But I understand if you're afraid, and then you might have to get some coaching from someone who has more of a spirit of investment and entrepreneurship. Like, you could do it, because you might fail. And the secret for that is, can you live with that? I'm getting ready to do a retreat and possibly start an online fitness program for yoga where you can have a subscription. And I'm really terrified. Like, number one, what if it's a disaster, my retreat? And number two, what if no one signs up to come with me? But that's a chance I think I have to take.
Yeah. So if there's some young women out there that are super passionate about fitness, would love to teach classes, but unsure how to make this into a career, what would you advise in terms of education? What are just the first starting points they should take to just turn this into reality?
If you want to teach fitness classes, you'll need a certification to get hired anywhere. You'll need usually an AFAA or an ACE certification. And if you Google those, they'll come up. And you take a written test, and you have to do all of these continuing education programs every 2 years, and you have to pay a bunch of money, basically. But then, I guess a little bit of a thorn in my side, so I'm glad you asked me this, is it's easy to get certified. Anybody with a brain can study the manual and pass the test, right? And the ACE test is quite hard. I certified through both, but I've let my AFAA certification fall, and I just keep up my ACE certification. But it's a lot of practice. So it might seem easy to put on a mic and talk and exercise at the same time, and to hear the musicality. So like when you should change and what the routine is. So for people who didn't grow up dancing, and you've been to my classes, I mess up all the time. And now I don't care. Like, now I'm so old, I'm like, whatever, it's fine. We're just going to continue on. But if you're new, you have to have confidence to carry the whole room. And it takes practice. My daughter, Isabel, is probably going to get certified to teach high fitness and bar classes. She loves them. And she'll be pretty good at it because she's a good dancer. But it's to sell the crowd. Like, you have to hold, if you have 10 or 20 or 50 or 200 people in the room, you hold them up. And it's actually very hard for me to teach 10 people. I would much rather teach 200 or 300, like at BYU. Super easy, super high endorphin, adrenaline rush. And that's easy. Although, I remember at BYU being up on that platform, and you look out and you'll see people making fun of like your face or how you sound, because, you're just authentically yourself. But it's a lot of practice. So they will need to stand in front of a mirror and go through the routine and talk. And maybe then get their moms and their dads and their sisters and their best friends to be their students, like my little 11 and 12-year-olds at the rec department. And you'll mess up a lot. I had one gym tell me in Orem, I went for a tryout and they didn't hire me. And they're like, you're not seasoned enough. That was very hard for me. It was very hard for me. So you have to smile. I believe I was trained by these ladies who teach at BYU, and I believe that you need to wear makeup, that you need to look your best, that you need to have a professional looking outfit. Even if you had one outfit and you wore it every single time, it needs to be flattering and you need to feel confident in it. So this is a big topic for me. A lot of women are getting certified to teach yoga. So they'll get what's called a 200 RYT or Yoga Alliance certificate, and they get done with it and they don't even know how to teach. All they have is a certificate, and it could take hundreds of hours to get that skill to hold a class up. So they're not injured and they don't feel bad about themselves when they leave. Everyone should leave a class feeling like they're better for outgoing, and that takes some practice, you know. And I've taught when I'm sick to my stomach, when I have strep, when I have heartbreak, when we've been unemployed, when my husband was in a very bad accident. You smile and you walk in and you teach like you're having the best day of your life. So until you're ready to do that, I would not be a teacher.
Right. So if there's some high school age girls out there, would you recommend maybe getting connected with the Rex Unlimited program or whatever it is, so they could maybe start with younger students and just see if this might be a good option for them while they're still young before they go off to college or seek further education?
I think so. And while you don't make a lot of money in these programs, it gives you a platform to practice. I also love the YMCA. They don't pay very much, but they do have their own training programs, and they're very gentle and mentoring with those programs. And so they kind of will put these groups together, maybe 2 or 3 teachers. And so you won't make a lot of money, but you get really good at teaching. And I love that about the YMCA here. Not every community has a YMCA. Like Orem and Provo, there is no YMCA. So I would take advantage of the 3 we have here, and then Caldwell and the Nampa Rec Center to practice, because I think they'll hire younger teachers.
That's a great idea. Okay, I love that. So I know that probably the best route to go with if you want to be in the fitness industry is kind of working your way into a situation where you can't teach from home. You'll make a little bit more money, you'll have a little bit more flexibility. But that's where it gets a little bit more scary. Through this whole process of the ups and downs and all the different things that you've been involved in, why has it been worth it to teach and to try and teach on your own terms?
I don't know. I guess I would have to say I love teaching. I just love teaching, and I love teaching women. Um, I love that moment when they realize, like, say I've had a new student and it's 6 months into coming to classes, and I get a special note from them. I'm going to probably tear up, but I had one really special note at Christmas time. It was on just a yellow legal pad, and it was kind of scribbled, and it said, "Dear Jenny, I want you to know that your class literally saved my life this year." And I don't know if she'd been suffering with depression or anxiety, or maybe she had an ill parent. All I know is that I showed up and she was better for it. And so I'm passionate about that. And I used to think, I'm 53 now, and I used to think like, oh, I'll teach until I'm about 50. And now I know for sure I'll be teaching, I would say at least till I'm 65. But I'm passionate about it, and I love teaching in my home. I love having people into my home. Um, and I do love teaching other places too. But the beauty of having people into my home is that it's very welcoming. And if someone's struggling with their body image, they don't have to walk through where other people see them. They can wear what they want. They can wear no makeup. It's just really easy. And so that's been wonderful. And then I can charge a lower fee. And well, maybe all the business people in the land will think I'm insane. That has been important to me, that more people get to come.
Yeah, I love that. That's perfect. Well, this is great. I think that we've covered all the talking points that I wanted to highlight for all of the girls that are going to be watching this video in the future. Is there any last words, advice, comments that you want to leave us with before we end this interview today?
Just basically that I think we need a lot of good teachers. We need people that are just really passionate about other people and helping them rise. And I really think that's where you will shine as a teacher. If you love people and you want to share fitness with them of any kind, teach. If it's more about your ego, perhaps find something else to do. Because I really think that the teachers that are the most special are the ones who care about everyone else in the room. So I guess good luck to everybody. And this is maybe something I've considered over the years, Chelsea, teaching people how to teach, because there's a lot of skill in teaching and you can certify, but then you might not know how to teach. So maybe give me a call, the ladies, if you want some help in that. Maybe we can put a class together. That would be exciting.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be exciting. I know that you have some amazing skills that you could share with all those fabulous younger girls out there. So thank you so much for taking time with us today, Jenny. We will end there. And of course, if you have any links or anything that you want to add, I'll put those in so that people can kind of see what you're up to and get to know you a little bit better. But thanks again, Jenny.
You're welcome. It was great. Thanks, Chelsea.